guys, it's your boy CMB. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and let's get into this one really quickly. Now guys, I finally got a chance to check out the press conference with Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Now, some of you guys may know, some of you may not know, I was traveling out of the country this morning, so I didn't get a chance to see the press conference as it was happening live. I am in the Dominican Republic now, so I did get a chance to sit down and watch it. And honestly, I didn't really know what to expect going into this press conference. I didn't know if the guys were going to just go buck wild on each other at the press conference. But I have to be honest, it was pretty tame between the two. It seems like there was a lot of respect there between the two fighters. And Gervonta Tank Davis actually showed up to the press conference late. 2 hours late, I think, to be exact. He was all decked out in this purple-looking fur jacket. Ryan was all decked out in black, this black jacket. Both of the guys looking like they're basically Hollywood. But the press conference, even though there weren't any fireworks, I thought that it was a good press conference. I think we learned a lot of things. Now, I didn't know that Tank had a rehydration clause put on Ryan. I think it's 10 pounds rehydration clause. He can't go over 10 pounds. If you didn't know, the fight is at a catch weight. It's at 136 pounds. And you guys know Ryan fights at 140 now. He's a pretty big kid, so I guess it's hard for him to make 135, but I mean, he is making 136 for the weigh-in, so who knows, go figures on that. But I think having the hydration clause on Ryan does give Tank somewhat of an edge in the fight. But honestly, I don't really know why Tank has a rehydration clause on Ryan Garcia, for the simple fact that he fought at 140, he fought Mario Barrios, and Mario Barrios came in huge that night at that fight. I actually went to that fight, and I actually kind of walked up on Mario Barrios when we were out at the hotel, and he's a pretty big guy, so I don't know, maybe Gervonta having some difficulties with Mario Barrios in that fight led him to wanting a rehydration clause on Ryan, and we'll see how this all plays out with that. Now, one thing that they did touch on, they were both asked a question about what does this fight mean. I think for boxing, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, and they touched on a lot what I've been saying, what some other people have been saying, what a lot of fans have been saying, that the best aren't basically fighting the best. The best fighters aren't fighting each other in their prime, and they're absolutely right. And this is the type of fight to bring it back. This is the type of fight to put eyes on the sport of boxing. It's not that boxing is not a good product. It's just that they're not making the fights that the fans want to see. And a lot of it has to do with the different platforms. You have DAZN, you have Top Rank, PBC, and BOK Prime. If these platforms can learn how to work together to make these fights, then boxing could be great again like it was in the past. They have the talent, it's there, but the best talent's not, competing with one another, and that's why the sport suffers, and I'm glad they did touch on that. Now, another thing was touched on was about Ryan having this image of being a social media darling. He's known for that, but not really being known for boxing. And he touched on that himself, and he wants to prove himself by fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. He said if that was true, if he was more concerned with being a social media star, he wouldn't be in the position right now where he is, sitting down at that press conference, getting ready to face one of the hardest punchers in boxing today. And he made a lot of sense in that. It's something that he really wants. I think people were doubting him because of the modeling and like you said, the Instagram stuff. But I think he really does have a passion for boxing. I think he wants to be taken seriously, and this is the fight that's going to do it for him. He has to just get out there and perform and come correct with it and defeat Gervonta Tank Davis, which is not an easy task. Gervonta Tank Davis is undefeated just like Ryan, but I think Gervonta Tank Davis has been in the ring with the more experienced competition. So even though Ryan's the taller, rangier fighter, it's going to be an uphill battle for him. But I do respect him for, you know, taking on such a tough task, getting himself in this position to actually be in this giant super fight. You know, I gotta say kudos to both of the fighters. Gervonta Tank Davis, gritty as he wanna be, tough fighter, guys. He's one of my favorites at 135 pounds. Some of you guys know that. I'm a huge fan of Tank's. But you know, I will call out Tank when he says things or does things that I don't like. But you know, I still think he's an awesome fighter, and I think it's just going to be a great fight between the two guys. And I'm just proud to see that boxing is actually putting on something that we can enjoy, that the casuals will probably like, that they'll flock to put more eyes on the sport of boxing. So I thought it was a pretty good press conference. What else did they go over that could be talked about? Well, basically, Gervonta said he's going to kick Ryan's ass. You know, Gervonta's not much for words, but that's the words coming from him. He's going to kick Ryan's ass. And another thing I left out, Ryan Garcia was asked about knocking Tank out in 2 rounds. And he said he was asked for a prediction, and he gave it. But you know, he was saying at the press conference that, you know, he's ready to go 12 rounds. And I like to hear that coming from Ryan, because you know, he's being real. He's respecting his opponent. He knows what Gervonta Tank Davis is capable of. He knows what Gervonta Tank Davis brings to the table. You can't go in there, you know, just be looking for the knockout with a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. You have to take your time. You have to study. You have to set traps, because if you go in there like Rolly did, it's possible that, you know, it's going to be the same outcome. Rolly was looking for that knockout, and he left himself open for a counter. And I'm sure Ryan doesn't want to do that. I'm sure Ryan's looked at that and reassessed what he said back in the past and said, okay, I'm going to have to be smarter than this. I got the height, I got the length advantage, I have the power just like him, so I have to use that to my advantage and avoid hard shots from Gervonta Tank Davis. So glad to see that he's maturing when it comes to that stuff, talking about knocking somebody out in 2 rounds. But anyway, guys, all in all, pretty good press conference. The face-off itself, they were kind of jaw-jacking each other. I don't really know what they were saying, but it looked pretty intense. And it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great fight, and I think it's just going to be great for boxing. And that, you know, makes me happy. But you guys tell me what you think about the press conference today. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, guys, April 22nd in Las Vegas, Nevada at the T-Mobile Arena. I will be getting tickets if at all possible. I want to be a part of that huge event. As always, pay-per-view. If you guys aren't planning on going, go in with a friend if you really want to see the fight. If it's something that you can't afford, you know, tell some friends to chip in, watch the fight, man. Make it a night. Let's make boxing great again. So you guys tell me what you think about the press conference in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.